And the data set, what it basically is, it's a bunch of pictures for computer vision, and all of them are labeled, right? You actually have to label. First, you start with very simple things where there is only one object in the picture, right? And then you start with, then you continue and you start fitting complicated images, right? Where there might be multiple things in the image. And you say, well, this is a cloud, this is a sun, this is a car, this is a person. And then you basically create a data set like that of very similar images, but maybe a person is in a different part of the picture, sun is not as bright as in the other picture. So you like just feed variety of those to the system.
So it sounds like there's a few things all kind of going on at once. One is basically tagging or associating text input with an image, right? So that would be the sort of data set where you have sort of the word apple and then a picture of an apple. So I think a lot of what that Midjourney and DALL-E situation was about was them going on the internet and scouring for billions of images and really making sure though that they could tag what a descriptor is, or the text descriptor, to an actual image so that it can actually start to regenerate that later. When somebody says, I want you to make me an apple, it now has tagged that together. The second part sounds like the computer vision, where it's essentially understanding the outline of an apple, the shape, the color, the pixel relationships, and all the different variations of what an apple could potentially look like. And then the third layer seems like it's basically, sounds like kind of what that recent, I think it was one of the Facebook releases, where it can look at multiple objects in a picture and basically determine each single one of those. So you have all these different layers of computing essentially going on simultaneously that then kind of create this sort of amazing technology that can basically be artistic and draw back from all those resources and create something new. So that's really helpful. So thank you for clarifying that. And it doesn't seem so alien already, because it's like just the way you talked about that we are using data sets when we're training, because I got a 2-year-old daughter and I'm training her with her first data sets with A and Apple and all that stuff. So that's kind of a cool way to understand it. So the question for a lot of us is, how does this relate to music, right? So if you have these AI models, right, and I don't know how familiar you were with the Pond 5 situation, but they definitely just let everybody know we're letting AI models come and learn from your music. So what is your take in terms of how does this all relate to AI models training and learning from music?
Yeah, so I think the approach is very similar. So they're probably taking the music, like if it's like shit music, then they can use computer vision to actually go through that and see and learn the relationship between notes and all of that. But given that most of the music is in actually audio format, right? They probably are not using computer vision for that, so it doesn't really make sense. With music, they probably just putting it through some sort of spectroscope, or like they look at spectrograms and they kind of go by frequencies, and they can say, well, this frequency sounded at that particular second, and they sort of can reconstruct what you were trying to do. It's difficult if it's not a single instrument melody, right? The more instruments you have, the harder it is to do, but it can still learn the structure, right? And then somebody needs to tell it, well, this part of the song is the happy moment, right? So next time somebody types in generate me a happy song, it would go look at all the examples that it knows of those happy moments, and it will try to reconstruct them, right? Somebody needs to tell it, this song is in the key of A major, right? So somebody needs to label all of that data, right? Once you have a picture, like a frequency picture of your song, then you have to label things, right? You need to say, well, this is a variation on C major chord, and this part of the song is happy, this one is sad, and you need to give it as much information as you can, and you have to do it on a lot of songs. So it's, when you ask it to generate something, if you only teach it on two songs, whatever it generates is going to sound exactly like those two songs. Again, it helps to think of it as a human, right? So the human learns from a teacher, then human goes out into the world and creates its own music, right? So this is where I don't think teachers are going to get paid beyond the teaching part of it, right? So when you submit your music, and if maybe in the future they will ask you for stamps and some sort of metadata that you provide along with your song, or something, or they can do that on your own. Well, you are the teacher at that moment, right? So you train that person, you train that model, some company buys that model, they use it to generate music, but probably, you're gonna get paid for the portion where you teach it.
Very cool. That's really, really good to know. And I think that's where a lot of potential opportunity might be in the future for us composers is a lot of these AI companies are going to need us and they're going to need to get it legally cleared that they can have their models trained, just like the Pond 5 situation. So, but again, it's always that big question mark. Are we going to be taking a little bit of the money up front and losing out on some potential big opportunities in the long run as a result of doing that?